Howdy Internet, welcome to Real Geeks. I am of course your, in this case, only host, Mike Montgomery. The role of Trevor Batson will be played by my iPad that I have left open to IMDb for the entry to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Unfortunately, Trevor just could not be here, and I will readily admit that sometimes I forget character names and so forth. What are you gonna do? So this is, of course, the sequel to Jurassic World, which I have not seen, and in the interests of openness and fairness and all that, I feel I should also point out that I have no investment in this franchise whatsoever. I remember seeing the first Jurassic Park in theater. I may have seen Jurassic Park The Lost World when it originally came out, or at least I saw parts of it on VHS or something. But at the same time, with the fact that we've been reviewing nothing but Disney films lately, we gotta hit another franchise at some point. Fallen Kingdom basically opens with this mercenary team that goes to the island that, in the interest of clarity, is apparently the same island the original Jurassic Park was on. Promotional material from Jurassic World gave me the impression that the two parks were on separate islands, which made the moment of seeing a Tyrannosaurus Rex stomp the wreckage of a Jurassic Park Jeep from the original movies a little confusing. But so these mercenaries show up and they break into the park and dive down into the water to retrieve a section of bone from the Indominus Rex, the "we need to build a dinosaur to sell to the military because of course we do" creature from the last film. For me, I think this is where the problems started. I'll of course get into those shortly, but to continue the plot, the main characters from the last film, Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt as Claire Deering and Owen Grady. See, this is why I need IMDb. Claire is convinced to return to the island by James Cromwell, who is playing Benjamin Lockwood. Benjamin Lockwood basically being John Hammond 2.0, the partner that I believe is referenced in the original Jurassic Park as the guy that worked with Hammond on the research that pulled the dinosaur DNA out of Amber. Claire, of course, recruits Owen because we can't have a Jurassic World sequel without everyone's favorite raptor, Blue, and Owen is basically the only human alive that Blue trusts, and over the course of the movie, as you'll see, rightfully so. They go to the island. There's thrills, chills, scares, things that I can't explain yet without the spoiler warning. But there's a double cross. They almost get caught up in the active volcano that's erupting. Yeah, that's right. They decided to put two dinosaur-filled amusement parks on top of an island with a volcano. What could go wrong? We get a lot of really standard plot points, and since I don't know how to go further without doing this, I'm just going to say it now. Time for spoilers! Lockwood's assistant, and you figure this out the second you meet the guy, has been plotting behind Lockwood's back to sell the dinosaurs to foreign militaries, foreign governments, yada yada. You get the standard auction scene where they sell the dinosaurs for hundreds of millions of dollars, blah 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 blah. And in case you haven't noticed, I fucking hate this movie. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is by far one of the single worst things I've seen since I started reviewing for Real Geeks. The only thing that I would rate it higher than, literally, is the original Power Rangers movie. From moment one, like I said, with those mercenaries that break into the park, these guys are the dumbest people ever hired. The tech guy who opens the gate so the sub could get in. He opens the gate, sub comes in, they retrieve the bone sample from the Indominus Rex. The sub, however, basically gets eaten because of course it does. And this dumbass goes to an island full of dinosaurs. He's trying to get a hold of the sub because, like I said, sub got eaten. Every other member of his crew that's with him is on the helicopter ready to take off, and they're screaming, waving their arms, signaling like, come on, come on, come on, you need to go. Because this tech guy, he turns around, he's looking at the helicopter, there's a giant black space in the background, and as soon as I saw this blank area, I immediately thought a T-Rex is going to come out. T-Rex came out. Dumbass can't figure out that, yeah, he should probably have his head on a swivel when he's on an island where there are more things that can kill you than all of Australia. I briefly apologize to our probable one Australian viewer. And this is the kind of idiocy that occurs over and over again over the course of the entire film. There's nothing here that's not predictable. Every scare you see coming a mile away, every dino attack, the leader of the military team that accompanied Owen and Claire to the island is basically a big game hunter who wants a tooth from every dinosaur he sees, because of course he does. You look at this guy the second he's on camera and you're like, you're a bad guy. And oh look, he tranks Owen, they kidnap Blue and try to leave Owen and Claire and the Franklin Webb, who is Claire's tech guy, who you're basically left expecting to die in every scene on the island he's in, because my god, he's annoying. And joining them is Zaya Rodriguez, who is, I believe the term was anthropological veterinarian, but basically she's a dinosaur doctor. Our generic man-made monster of the week that you were stupid to create. This time around is the Endoraptor. It's basically a super raptor that our bad guy scientists need Blue alive, because Blue is the only creature that can possibly control this thing. They expect the Endoraptor to look at Blue as its mother. There are some moments with the Endoraptor that are just damn funny. They kind of work for and against the film. The mercenary leader, who I mentioned earlier, the dude that loves pulling dino teeth, decides to open up the Endoraptor cage, walk in by himself, and try to pull the Endoraptor's tooth. If you've just tried to guess what happens to this guy, I'm not going to say what happens because I don't have to. You're right. And then you have the standard kid in the Jurassic films. In this case is Lockwood's granddaughter, Maisie, who is a clone of Lockwood's daughter. Finally, the film has the balls to do something it should have done several movies back by bringing in human cloning. Do they do anything with that? No. It more or less gives Maisie a reason to be there, but again, this is a plot twist where as soon as Lockwood's assistant says she doesn't know the truth about who she is, I go, human clone! This is a good idea. And there are a number of good ideas in the film. They don't do anything with them. Jeff Goldblum shows up, because every time you do a remake, you need to have someone from the original franchise come back. My problem with Jeff Goldblum being in this film basically boils down to something that Goldblum himself explained in the first film.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
That's right. The studio was so focused on whether or not they could get Jeff Goldblum, no one gave any thought to whether or not they should. I came into this movie not really a lot of high expectations, but, kind of even keel. I was all prepared to be fair and balanced with my thoughts on this film. By the time I had figured out The plot is entirely predictable. No surprises whatsoever. The movie just doesn't seem to care. It puts out ideas that it does nothing with, and the logic is just downright insulting to the viewer's intelligence. I left the movie utterly furious. Now, for my rating, my official Real Geeks rating is going to be a 2 out of 5. And as much as I want to go lower, I'm picking this solely because of the quote on the card. And yes, the visuals with the dinosaurs are wonderful. This is what the franchise is known for. They do a great job here. If you're a fan of the franchise, if the nostalgia factor is a thing for you, I would say yes, there's still something in this movie for you. Other than that, don't bother. My opinion is close the park and be done with it. My personal rating, I'm actually going to borrow from the rating system of doubletoasted.com, which goes better than sex, full price, matinee, rental, some old bullshit, and fuck you. You can probably guess what I'm giving this based on that scale. This thing's a fuck you. With that, next month, hopefully Trevor will be back, and we should be checking out Ant-Man and the Wasp on July 6th. So, until then, I'm out. Real Geeks is a Geeksploitation production. Sit, pig monkey, sit. Good boss.